Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.
Tonight on News Hour, troops arrest suspected killer of Ardo of Panyam in Plateau State. Godwin Emefiele out on bail as legal battles continue. Days before election, candidates sign peace accord in Bielsa. On the foreign scene, dozens dead and thousands trapped in Somalia's worst floods in decades. Hello and welcome to the News Hour on Trust TV. I am Ayuba Ila. Thanks for joining. The tactical team of Operation Safe Haven, a multi-security task force operating in Plateau and parts of Bauchi and Kaduna states on Wednesday, confirmed the arrest of a prime suspect in the murder of Fulani leader in Panyam district of Mangu local government area of the state. The Ardo was first declared missing on September 24th, reportedly on his way back from a visit to the district head of the area, after which his corpse was later discovered in a village bordering Plateau and Bauchi state. Ado Musa completes the story.
The killing of the Fulani leader has unsettled the area as concerns persisted over the implications on the fragile peace in the community. Now, the authorities believe they have in custody the principal suspect involved in the murder of the Fulani leader. Parading the suspect at the headquarters of 3 Division of the Nigerian Army, Rukuba Barak Jos, the spokesperson of the division, Ishaku Sebastian, said the suspect was arrested in Lagos following weeks of painstaking manhunt to bring the criminal to justice.
As you may recall, the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Taurid Lagwaja, directed Operation Safe Haven to immediately recover the body of the Ardo, which Operation Safe Haven tactical team was able to recover in faraway Bauchi state almost a week after and handed over to the family for burial. The Chief of Army Staff also charged the force to quickly hunt down the perpetrators and bring them to justice in order to prevent reprisals and fresh cycle of violence after the peace being enjoyed on the plateau consequent upon the launch of Operation Hakori Damisa Fall.
The suspect, according to the Army spokesperson, has already confessed to the crime.
He has already fully confessed to the crime and also made very useful statements that will lead to further arrest in the coming days. His successful arrest serves as a clear warning to criminals that they cannot escape justice. Regardless of how far they may try to run, security agencies possess the resilience and capacity to employ all elements of national power to ensure that criminals are held accountable for their action.
We will hold his clothes. We don't use any object or anything. We hold him, 3 of us, and we are many because I don't know most of the children, but the ones I know is one elderly man, you know me, and the other ones, I don't know their names, so we hold and squeeze his clothes. His clothes by his neck. So that is why immediately he gave up. Then I left to the hospital and because they discharged my son, I take him back straight.
So can you describe how you forced life out of him?
Forced life. Okay, you squeeze his cloth like this on his neck, so he sees his breath. He cannot breathe again.
The arrest of the suspect may likely reassure members of the Fulani community in Panyam and across Plateau State of justice from the system, which will be critical to the peace-building process in the state. For the military operations, this success signposts their commitment to restoring peace and stability across the theater of operations. Ado Musa, Trust TV News, Jos.
Now for some more updates, we have joining us via phone our Daily Trust reporter in Jos, Ado Musa. Thank you so much for joining us, Ado, on the News Hour tonight.
Thank you for having me.
All right. So, Ado Musa, is there any reaction from leadership of the Mieti Allah Cattle Breeders Association as of now?
Yes, there has been a reaction from the leadership of Mieti Allah Cattle Breeders Association of Nigeria, that is here on the plateau. When I spoke to the chairman of the Magban here in Plateau, Mala Noura Abdullahi, on the arrest of the suspect, he told me that the entire family of Makban are happy with the development. They are happy that the prime suspect, or one of the prime suspects behind or in the killing of the Fulani Ninja was arrested. And they are calling on members of their group to live peacefully because they have confidence in the security. They believe that with the effort being made so far, they believe that justice will be done to Ado Idris. So that is what the Makban chairman told me immediately after the suspect was paraded by the Nigerian Army.
All right. What more do we know about other accomplices who might have been part of this attack and the killing of the Miyetti Allah leader?
You know, according to this suspect, Philip Gokat, he said that 4 of them were responsible for the killing of the man. But he counts, or rather, he doesn't know where these suspects are at the moment. Because when the incident occurred, he fled to Lagos, where the army arrested him and then brought him back to Jos. So he said 4 of them have really acted, or rather, 4 of them were involved in the killing of the man. But only 2 of them will be able to identify at the moment. So I believe that because the security personnel, or rather the spokesperson of the state division said that after the investigation, they'll be able to trace some of the accomplices, that is, those who also participated in the killing. So probably this particular suspect will tell them where or who have really participated in the killing of the outlaw.
Okay, what should we now be expecting next? Is he now going to be handed over to the police for prosecution or what?
Surely, after the investigation, he's going to be handed over to the police, or rather, to the police for prosecution. Because normally, when a suspect is arrested, after investigation, will be handed over to the police, and from there, the police will now take the case where he will be prosecuted before any court of law. So I'm very sure that he's going to be prosecuted after the investigation.
All right, thank you so much, Ado Musa, Daily Trust reporter from Jos. We look forward to having more updates on this.
Okay, thank you very much, Father.
All right, now, away from that, a Federal Capital Territory High Court in Maitama, Abuja, has granted bail to the immediate past governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, who is facing charges of financial misappropriation by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. Emefiele has been in detention since his suspension from office by President Bola Tinubu on June 9. Trust TV's Shafiu Suleiman reports.
The embattled former Central Bank Governor Godwin Emefiele is finally free on bail after months of legal battles. Ruling on the bail application by counsels to Emefiele, the court ordered the release of the former CBN governor on bail in line with his fundamental right as enshrined in the Constitution. The judge, after ruling against the objection of EFCC counsel to the bail application, ordered the confiscation of Emefiele's international passport as part of the bail condition, while ordering his counsels to ensure his appearance for arraignment on the 15th of November 2023.
What happened in court was the victory of the rule of law and due process. We thank the agencies of government, the DSS, the EFCC and the Ministry of Justice and the federal government generally for complying with the order of court that was made on the 2nd and reiterated on the 8th to produce the Mr. Emefiele in court. Now he was produced in court, and if you recall, part of the order was that he was to be produced for the purpose of being admitted to bail. The court has admitted him to bail, and the terms have been perfected, and he's free to go home. We are going to ensure that that is carried out. What the court did was to ensure was to state that all of us are players in the administration of the criminal justice system, and we have a key role to play in ensuring that everything moves smoothly.
The ex-CBN governor Emefiele was released by the Department for State Security (DSS) only to be rearrested by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) in his long-running battles with law enforcement since his suspension and eventual removal from office in June. Before the recent hearing, EFCC had failed to produce the former CBN governor, prompting the court to order his appearance. The immediate past CBN governor is standing trial on alleged abuse of office while at the helm of affairs at the Apex Bank. Shafiu Suleiman, Trust TV News, Abuja.
The current energy crisis in Nigeria is causing a surge in the consumption of fuel wood in the country. The hike in the price of cooking gas has further deepened concerns for households who have to use every resource available to make ends meet. Adam Umar sent in the report as presented.
Nigerians are facing living condition crisis, which is pushing many households to the brink. The declining purchasing power has been compounded by soaring inflation, which is causing persistent hikes in the price of goods and services. With the current hike in the price of cooking gas, most low-income households are now switching to affordable and accessible fuel sources like charcoal to remedy the critical situation.
As they said charcoal before, charcoal dey cheap, they manage them as gas cost. Everybody go charcoal. As they say now, they sell them, they manage and they go. When they hear where matter, so they increase the charcoal for us. And now gas cost, everything cost, everything cost. Charcoal now decrease, they don't increase the charcoal money for us. So they complain, say, yeah, no day. Now they don't increase charcoal money.
Before, gas was cheaper, and we get it at a cheaper rate. We use it. We don't even bother to use charcoal. But now the gas is high, charcoal is high. No one is balanced. We are just managing.
Although the prices of charcoal has been impacted by inflation, it remains the most affordable energy source for consumers across the country. Medical and environmental experts are once again reiterating the dangers of an over-reliance on fuel wood for everyday household needs, highlighting its negative impact on health and environment.
People are advised to switch to energy that have zero or near zero carbon emission. Charcoal definitely does not pass for that. It goes for tree cutting, because you cannot make charcoal if you don't cut down trees. So it's really a very bad environmental impact effect that we get when we rely on charcoal as a source of our energy.
The skyrocketing price of gas will force Nigerians to go back to woods, to go back to the forest and start cutting more and more trees. And by doing so, first of all, it will bring impact socially, economically, and also it will affect our livelihood.
The current situation poses a serious threat to Nigeria's socio-economic development, as poverty and unemployment continue to rise unmitigated.
Rising cost of living is threatening fish business in Hadejia town in Jigawa State. Over the years, Hadejia remains one of the largest fish markets in northern Nigeria, but the current persistent inflation is forcing many people out of business in the ancient town. In this special report, Trust TV's Northwest correspondent Idris Jibrin reports that a 50 kg carton of fish is now sold at about 130,000 naira.
Inside Hadejia Seafood Market, trucks load of fish waiting to be transported to other states across the country. But traders say the cost at which these trucks are being transported is highly disturbing.
Honestly, in a day we used to load about 10 trailers of fish from this market. But now things are drawing back. because of the high cost of living and the high cost of transportation. Because of the high inflation that we are in today, it's not everybody that can afford to buy enough fish. Most people, if you are buying like 10 bags, nowadays people are buying 5 or even 3 bags.
Relying on local sources within Jigawa and other villages around the Lake Chad, traders here say fish is also brought from Chad and Niger Republic, but the product is now getting scarce for obvious reasons.
Honestly, things are hard now. You can get a bag of fish at about 120, 130, in fact up to 135,000 naira, which before is not like that. That is why many people are thinking of quitting the business.
High cost of transportation, increased taxation, inadequate capital, and lack of storage facility is gradually threatening fish business in northern Nigeria.
Our major problem is transportation. You see, this is Nigeria, and our people do go to Niger and Chad to buy fish. Now you can pay 1 million, 1.5 million to transport your goods, let's say from Kano to Lagos and other places across the country. That is why people are thinking otherwise.
It has been estimated that over 1 million people from across the country and neighboring West African nations do trade here, a large percentage of whom may likely be out of business if the rising inflation and general high cost of living persist.
The people trading here are not only from Hadija. We have people from Kebbi State, from Borno State, from different parts of the country, and we also have our friends coming from Niger, from Chad Republic to bring in fish here. Therefore, if you can estimate the number of all these people that are trading here, they are over 1 million.
Unless new incentive is provided to address the high cost of transportation among other challenges, the price of fish is expected to continue to rise, and the future of this booming fish market may likely continue to remain bleak. Idris Jibrin, Trust TV News, Jigawa.
Over now to the off-circle elections. Ahead of the November 11th governorship election in Bayelsa State, the chairman of the National Peace Committee and former head of state, General Abdulsalami Abubakar, GCFR, retired, has called on political parties and candidates to facilitate a peaceful and violent-free electoral process. The call was part of events marking the symbolic signing of the Peace Accord by political parties and candidates ahead of the Saturday's governorship election in the state. Trust TV's correspondent, Friday Ebimobo Peter, has more.
The Peace Accord has become part of tradition in Nigerian politics, symbolizing the commitment of political parties and candidates to a peaceful and successful electoral process.
Ordinarily, these events should be a celebration of who we are and our trust in democracy. Please, I want to add my voice. Vote to stay alive. Vote to see a great Bayelsa. Vote to see a great Nigeria. It will be a terrible tragedy for anybody to lose his life or for you to be in hospital while the celebrations are going on. So please, let's conduct ourselves in a way and manner is to conduct free, fair and credible elections.
The chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Mahmoud Yakubu, represented by the National Commissioner supervising Akwa Ibom, Bayelsa and Rivers State, Mrs. May Agbamuche Humbu, restates the commitment of INEC a free, fair and credible election. The chairman of the Christian Association of Nigeria, Reverend Father Joseph Opelama, urged candidates to respect the choice of Bayelsans and accept the outcome of the election in good faith.
And I'm particularly confident that there will not be any violence. But if there's violence, INEC, we know what to do. The laws allow us, where there's violence in any polling unit, to actually cancel that result and give it 0. And if there's areas where we have to come back, we'll come back. But where there's violence, we're taking it very seriously. And we're not going to allow the political parties to scatter and destroy this election.
If they do not want you for now, then you have to wait when they call on you to come and rule them or to come and lead them as governor, then you come to lead them. And I join my voice to the plea of the Peace Committee that the candidates should be civil, they should be Christian, and they should be true Democrats.
Some of the candidates that took part in signing the peace accord include the People Democratic Party (PDP) Senator Doyedore, the All Progressive Congress (APC) Timi Persiva, Action People Party Mercy Ogege, and assuring their commitment to a peaceful election process.
I am one person that all of you will attest that the peace in this state is because the body language of the governor is peaceful. The body language of the governor is security.
And for us in the APC, we are very happy that this is happening because we've always stood for peace. And we will hope that other parties also will obey and abide by the peace accord.
You don't win by violence. You don't win by war. You win by ideologies. You win by having good vision. So I am prepared, and I'm also believing that Bayelsans are prepared for a change.
The governorship candidate of the Labour Party and state chairman of the party were both absent for the peace accord signing. Friday, Ebimobowe Peter, Trust TV News, Yenagoa.
The federal government of Nigeria has reportedly saved approximately 1.45 trillion naira between June and September from the removal of petrol subsidy, according to FAC allocation records obtained from the National Bureau of Statistics and Nigeria's Governors Forum website. Monthly contributions to the non-oil revenue savings account totaled 696.93 billion naira in June, 389.7 billion naira in July, 71 billion naira in August, and 289 billion naira in September. President Bola Tinubu declared the end of the subsidy in May 2023. Prior to this, the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited spent 1.828 trillion naira on subsidies from January to May 2023, 55% higher than the same period in 2022. Tinubu had announced that 1 trillion naira was saved in June and July alone, which will now be used for intervention programs benefiting families. Despite the public outcry that followed the revelation of some of the line items in the document, President Bola Tinubu has signed the 2023 supplementary budget worth 2.17 trillion naira into law. The President signed the 2023 Supplementary Appropriation Act at the State House, Abuja, in the presence of the President of the Senate, Senator Godswill Akpabio, and the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Tajuddin Abbas. Tinubu had said that the supplementary bill would finance additional palliative measures, including wage awards. The Federal Executive Council had on Monday approved the 2023 supplementary budget. You're watching the News Hour on Trust TV. Coming up shortly. Public outcry trails cancellation of life pension for Gombe ex-governor. Details and more after the break.
That's right. You too could be one of the 20 Zenith Bank customers that will win 150,000 naira every 2 weeks from June 1st, 2023 until May 31st, 2024 in the Zenith Better Life Promo 3. To qualify, simply open a Zenith Bank account. For more information, visit www.zenithbank.com/betterlife. Live the better life with Zenith Bank.
As a demonstration of its commitment to provide sustained access to basic healthcare for all Nigerians, the Federal Government of Nigeria, through the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, NPHCDA, has established the Basic Healthcare Provision Fund, BHCPF. The Basic Healthcare Provision Fund is designed to deploy Operations Fund directly to primary healthcare facilities in every political ward nationwide to ensure the availability of quality PHC services to all Nigerians, irrespective of where they live or work. The Basic Healthcare Provision Fund guarantees 24 hours availability of midwives, other health workers, and health supplies in at least one PHC in every political ward. Ask from your local government health department for the BHCPF PHC in your ward to get more information and benefit from the services. Think access to healthcare for all. Think universal health coverage. Think Basic Healthcare Provision Fund. This message is from the Federal Ministry of Health and National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, NPHCDA. For further inquiries, call the NPHCDA toll-free number 7722 or visit www.nphcda.gov.ng.
It may not look it, but Zamfara is quietly raging. It is the explosive focal point of northwest Nigeria. Across 14 local government areas, bandits have been unleashing mindless violence.
We need presidential intervention in Zamfara State. Our governor is doing his best. Our own part, we are doing our best. We need federal intervention. I repeat, we need federal intervention.
No area, no village, no ward, no district that is not affected. No hour, no minute, no second that you cannot see bandits moving around, attacking our people.
Over 200,000 people have been displaced, and over 6,000 deaths have been reported since May 2011.
Welcome back. You're watching the news hour on Trust TV. Let's take a look at the top stories now. Troops arrest suspected killer of Ardo of Panyam in Plateau State. Plus, Godwin Emefiele out on bail as legal battles continue. In other news, the Ibadan Zonal Command of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission has arraigned 11 students of the Obafemi Awolowo University before Justice Nathaniel Ayo Emmanuel of the Federal High Court Osogbo, Osun State for their alleged involvement in internet fraud. The defendants were arraigned on different count charges ranging from 1 to 6 charges or as preferred against them by the EFCC. 9 of the defendants were arraigned on 1 count charge each, while 2 had 6 count charges filed against them each. The head, media and publicity of the anti-graft agency, Dele Oyewole, in a statement said that upon arraignment of the suspect, they all pleaded not guilty to the charges when they were read to them. Members of the Nigerian Army from the National Defense College of Nigeria, under the leadership of Brigadier General A.O. William, have visited Taraba State to complement the efforts of troops in fighting insecurity within the state. General Williams said that the visit is to strengthen the relationship with other security agencies in the state to tackle the problem. The report.
Taraba State is one of the northeastern states that is facing different security challenges, ranging from kidnappings, banditry, communal clashes, tribal conflicts, and chieftaincy tussles, among other problems. The security agencies in the state have been trying to put an end to this situation. It is in line with this mandate that the Nigerian Army from the National Defense College are here to support the troops. According to the Brigadier General William, the visit is to strengthen the cooperation with the state government.
The expectation is that the government is doing a lot to ensure the unity of the state and by large national unity and national development. But however, you cannot get everything you need, but the little that they have, they are using it to ensure safety of the people, good people of Taraba State, and by large, the safety of Nigeria at large.
General William also said that the visit will help strengthen interagencies cooperations.
We are here to interrogate the effort of the state government in strengthening the unity of the state to enhance national security and national development. We had a courtesy visit on the Deputy Governor. Today we are meeting all the security agencies to hear their own perspective on how the state is able to strengthen the unity through the various perspective of the various security agencies that were here at the chambers this morning.
The general urges citizens to continue to give maximum support to security agencies.
From the Parliament, the Nigerian Senate is looking into alleged unwholesome practices by the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAMB. The upper legislative chamber says that the investigation is aimed at curtailing the practice of undisclosed admissions and other unwholesome practices by the board. These resolutions were reached at the Wednesday's plenary after a debate on a motion by Senator representing Ebonyi North, Peter Nwebonyi. Rashidat Yusuf reports.
Although the probe will beam the searchlight on universities across the country, particular interest is being paid to the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, UNN.
Worried that the provisional admission practice is being used as a malicious tool to exploit and frustrate intelligent young Nigerians who are children and wards of ordinary Nigerians. Also worried by the fact that these children who make good grades in the UTME and been made to pay the necessary fees undergo rigorous processes of registration, matriculation, resume lectures, and sometimes even semester exams only to be transferred to other less competitive courses by the university.
The leadership of the Senate, however, declined adopting any of the prayers recommended during the debate, but chose to refer the matter to the Committees on Public Petitions and Tertiary Institutions for further legislative action.
Let us invite officials of the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, and JAMB to look at the veracity of this claim that 290 students were left wandering about in the university campus after staying for maybe 1 year or 2 years. I have heard stories of people staying in the university for 4 years without even graduating with a degree, based on discrepancies in the admission policy.
JAMB has its own reputation, so the discussing and particularizing it could tend to give the international community that something is questionable about the certificates from University of Nigeria, which we all respect. It has given birth to so many universities, including the one I went to, which was the University of Calabar. So I think the Latin phraseology applies here, which is audi autem patem.
Both committees are excited to invite the officials of JAMB, UNN, and the Minister of Education, Professor Tahiru Mama, and the cause of the probe to explain the circumstances surrounding the undisclosed admission phenomenon. In another development, the Senate has asked the federal government to immortalize the late Ohinohi of Ebira land, Dr. Abdurrahman Ado Ibrahim, and has immortalized him by naming the Federal College of Education Okene after him. During plenary on Wednesday, the upper chamber commiserated with the entire people of Ebira land over the death of their foremost traditional ruler, the Ohinohi of Ebira land, His Royal Highness Dr. Ado Ibrahim. This followed a motion by Senator Natasha Akpoti Uduagha, representing Kogi Central.
The Senate accordingly resolves to observe a minute's silence in his honor, send a condolence letter to commiserate with the family, the good people of Ebira land, and urge the federal government to immortalize him by naming the Federal College of Education after him.
The deceased Ohinohi, a former vice president of the Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs, died on October 29th in Abuja, where he had been receiving treatment for age-related ailment and has since been buried according to Islamic rites. Rashidat Yusuf, for Trust TV News.
Under the Green Chamber's House of Representatives Committee on Finance on Wednesday queried irregularities in the registration of subsidiary companies under the Nigerian Postal Service. The question was posed by Committee Chairman James Abiodun Faleke during an interactive meeting. on the 2024-2026 medium-term expenditure framework. The Ministry of Finance, Incorporated, and other agencies appeared before the committee. Speaking during the session, Faleke noted that documents before the committee shows that 2 subsidiary companies under NIPOST were registered under individual names as shareholders instead of the federal government, despite NIPOST being a federal government asset. Faleke also raised issues over the approval and withdrawals of 10 billion naira for the purpose of the registration of the subsidiary companies. Responding, the Chief Executive Officer of MOFI, Dr. Armstrong Taka, admitted there were irregularities within the system, asking for the support of the committee to address them.
As it is by law, they are the owner of this company, and they are the owner of all assets of NIPOST by law. Are you lawyers? That's what I understand. I also have another one, which NIPOST Logistics or something like that, also registered in personal names. So I want to know from you, did you give permission to CAC to register your assets in personal name, Nigerian assets? Because what I can see here is that even some of them, they were working as civil servants when this was registered. Well, some of them, they were civil servants, and some have retired. But as it is by law, they are the owners of NIPOST Properties and NIPOST Transport Limited.
There is an opportunity for this committee to really partner with us to regularize a lot of the irregularities that exist and persist in our system. That is just one example. There are many other examples where such anomalies exist and have persisted for many years. The simple answer to your question, Honorable Chairman, is that the answer is no. When you register an entity, especially a federal government-owned entity, the shareholder must be MOFI. As dated as the MOFI Act is, the very fundamental basis for that act talked about easements and rights. And so anything that federal government owns your shares in, it should have been registered under MOFI.
The unpopular life pension packages for former governors in Nigeria has continued to generate public debate as Nigerians express dismay over the profligacy of people in power. A select number of former governors get jumbo pay as life pensions and allowances despite government's limited resources to attend to competing demands of the people. Amidst the public outcry, former governor of Gombe State, Ibrahim Hassan Nkwambo, has asked for the suspension of his life pension. His decision has elicited reactions from residents in Gombe State. Ibrahim Ismail has more.
Despite millions of Nigerians dealing with extreme poverty, some former governors have been living fat on government resources through life pensions and allowances, guaranteeing their continued welfare even after the completion of their tenure in office. The unpopular scheme has been brought back to the fore of public discourse as citizens and civil society campaign for the discontinuation of the immoral practice. Senator Ibrahim Hassan Nkwambo served as governor of Gombe State between 2011 and 2019 and is one of the former governors enjoying life pensions. Recently, he wrote the incumbent governor in Wahia requesting for the suspension of his monthly pension and promised to refund of past payment. In a letter dated 4th October 2023, Nkwambo said 694,557 naira 82 kobo is the total monthly pension and allowance being paid to him as former governor of Gombe State. The letter, which has now gone viral, is causing an uproar among members of the public.
For us to fight corruption, if at the end of the day as a governor you know that there is a provision for you either as a pension or any benefit to be given to you after you may have served, that will stop you from even diverting the public fund. So promotion of democracy and sustainability of democracy should go in line with the constitutional provision. So therefore I don't see there is anything wrong.
gaskiya sakona zuwa ga majalisa akan wannan kudaden da ake ba tsofaffin gwamnati.
I urge the legislature to amend the law which gives life pension benefits to the governors.
Wanda ba sa irwa.
The money should be channeled to address the country's problems for the benefit of the masses.
Hada su ai wani aiki na daban wanda zai na taimakon talakawa.
As the debate continues, many say there is a need for legislative amendments that will ensure life pension laws for politicians are repealed from the system.
It's administrative, but they just work for 4 years and they are entitled to so much allowance. While you have millions of Nigerians that are unemployed, millions of Nigerians, school teachers are not paid very well, infrastructures in the universities also are going on strike. Then a fragment of Nigerians who worked in the office just for 4 years are entitled to so much. Why? Because when those laws were made, we were all sleeping.
Dankombo's request to suspend his monthly pension and allowance comes after the Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project (SERAP) obtained a court order instructing the federal government to recover pensions received by ex-governors currently serving as ministers and members of the National Assembly. It is, however, unclear whether the two-time governor was compelled or acted willingly. In any case, his actions appear to be too little, too late to ingratiate him from the public. Ibrahim Ismail, Trust TV News, Gombe.
The Katsina State Government has commenced review and validation of state's social protection policy for economic and implementation sustainability. The review and validation meeting is holding in Dutse, Jigawa State, with stakeholders from different sectors in Katsina. Abdullahi Amadi sent in the report.
Abdullahi Abubakar, who is the permanent secretary of the State Ministry of Budget and Economic Planning, said the event marks a crucial juncture in their commitments to enhance the well-being of the people of the state. Represented by Mukhtar Usman, a director of social protection in the ministry, Abubakar said social protection is a cornerstone of the state government's development agenda.
This workshop represents a significant step in ensuring that our policies are not only effective, but also economically sustainable.
Shortly after the election of Dikko Radda as the governor of the state, a blueprint was developed for the administration, taking into cognizance where the state is, where it wants to be, and how to get there, using social protection as a strategic policy document.
We are going to make it a kind of engagement that include government official, civil society organization, and beneficiary to have a kind of participatory approach during this workshop so that we can have a feedback at the end of the workshop.
Review and fine-tuning the social protection framework is crucial, putting into consideration the financial implications and the allocation of resources to ensure that the initiatives are successfully implemented. A UNICEF policy specialist with Kano Field Office, Fatima Muhammad, said the 4-day workshop was organized to review and validate the state's social protection policy, cost implementation plan and framework.
Let's pray that by December, His Excellency will give us a social protection policy, an approved state development plan, an approved costed implementation plan for social protection, and an approved M&E framework as a parting holiday gift.
She further explained that the document will ensure equitable and sustainable development in the state with the following recommendations: increase fiscal space for social protection, design inclusive social protection systems that are non-discriminatory, gender responsive, and responsive to special needs such as people with special needs. Others are widows, orphans, victims of banditry, and other vulnerable groups, among many other considerations. Abdullahi Ismayamadi, Trust Television News, Katsina.
Nigeria Customs Service Federal Operations Unit Zone A intercepted 13 trailer loads of foreign parboiled rice 17 vehicles and other items worth 1.2 billion naira in October. This was disclosed in a statement posted on the official X handle of the Nigeria Customs Service on Wednesday. The acting controller of the unit, Hussaini Ejibunu, made this known in a press briefing on Tuesday at the unit's headquarters in Lagos. The acting controller also disclosed that 9 suspects were arrested during the anti-smuggling operations, as some of them were currently undergoing prosecution in different states of the zone. Ejibunu appealed to well-meaning and patriotic Nigerians to continue to support the unit with credible information that will assist in battling economic sabotage. Time now to take a quick break. More news shortly. Join us again.
It was never a consensus. We did all our best. You see, in politics, you give your contribution to the best of your ability.
If you want, I'll forward to you this statement. You go to this bank and verify.
But there are people who say not spending money is not a virtue in itself.
Let me finish.
Well, there's so much to be done.
Let me finish. Now, you don't allow me to explain myself.
The recent development shows abductions are now a factor of informants embedded in community.
It's not about the people of Katsina to say that, no, during my administration I was able to stop insecurity. No, it's about collective responsibility for all of us.
And what we should ask ourselves is not what has been seen, is the life better? Are there more people who are unemployed who have not become employed? Is the level of corruption has gone down? Is there inclusion? All those issues.
We're actually a gas country with associated oil. Our focus has always been on oil, that we have never paid attention, significant attention to gas.
To do it effectively, we need to have honest conversation with ourselves. Government needs to come down from its high horse and communicate with the people and build trust.
There must be a solution. We cannot continue this way. They must come back to the table and agree. So whose child will do deny education? All these children that sit for jam, they want to go to higher institutions.
But just a short while ago you were saying that why bring 10 children when you cannot cater for them? So why bring more universities when you cannot cater for the existing?
That's great. Thanks for staying with us. You're watching the News Hour on Trust TV. It's now time to take a look at business updates put together by Chamaka Mwafo.
The Central Bank of Nigeria has directed all its branches across the country to continue to issue different denominations of the old and redesigned banknotes in adequate quantities to deposit money banks. The CBN also cautioned that all banknotes issued by it remain legal tender and should not be rejected by anyone. This was contained in a statement signed by Issa Abdul Mumin, CBN Director of Corporate Communications, on Wednesday. The clarification became necessary following recent panic that there could be currency scarcity despite the Apex Bank's assurances of sufficient cash stocks in all locations across the country. The president of the African Development Bank, Dr. Akinwumi Adesina, said that the Abidjan-Lagos Highway Corridor has successfully secured $15.5 billion in investment interest. This development was disclosed during the 2023 Africa Investment Forum AIF Market Days in Marrakesh, Morocco, where participants gathered under the theme unlocking Africa's value chains. Additional emphasized that the corridor's transformational potential extends to the entire West African region, offering the promise of accelerated regional integration, sustainable economic development, and enhanced trade opportunities. According to him, African economies present some of the most promising investment opportunities globally and encourage investors to focus on the continent's potential. Still with the AIF conference, Dr. Akinwumi Adesina, president of the AFDB, has equally stated that the default rate on infrastructure financing for African countries is one of the lowest in the world when compared to Europe and Asia. And that's it on Business News. I am Chiamaka Mafo.
The federal government has inaugurated additional enhanced e-passport facilities at selected Nigerian embassies in Italy, Spain, Greece, Austria, and Switzerland. The Minister of Interior, Dr. Olubunmi Tunjiojo, inaugurated the facilities at the Nigerian embassy in Rome. A statement by the Service Public Relations Officer, Adedotun Aridegbe, in Abuja, stated that the new passport processing centers were part of efforts to streamline passport processing and acquisition for Nigerians residing in the diaspora. Tunjiojo emphasized the dedication of President Bola Tinubu's government to citizens' diplomacy and the enhancement of services to the diaspora community. The Interior Minister, who was represented by the Acting Controller General, Caroline Adepoju, announced the phased rollout of the enhanced e-passport in Europe. President Bola Tinubu will on Thursday depart Abuja for Riyadh, Saudi Arabia to attend the Saudi Africa Summit, which is scheduled to take place in Riyadh on November 10. The president will underscore Nigeria's commitment to attracting more foreign direct investment and expanding business partnerships. Discussions at the first Saudi Africa Summit will revolve around supporting joint action, enhancing political coordination, addressing regional security threats, facilitating economic transformation through research and the local development of new energy solutions, as well as bolstering cross-sectoral investment cooperation. In a statement signed by the President's Special Advisor on Media and Publicity, Ajuri Ngilale, President Tinubu, while being accompanied by the Minister of Foreign Affairs, will be accompanied by the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Yusuf Tugar, Minister of Education, Professor Tahir Mamman, Coordinating Minister of the Economy and Minister of Finance, Mr. Wale Edun, Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, Dr. Betta Edu, as well as the Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, Senator Abubakar Bagudu, among others. Now, away from Nigeria, Somalis are struggling to cope with record-breaking flooding that has killed dozens of people and forced hundreds of thousands to abandon their homes in the wake of extreme rainfall that has engulfed much of the East Africa. Somalia's National Disaster Management Agency says that at least 29 people have been killed and more than 300,000 have fled their homes for safety, calling the phenomenon the most severe in decades. The extreme rain presents a new challenge for the Horn of Africa, country which is still reeling from a record drought that crippled its agriculture and killed as many as 43,000 people last year. Now, Somali authorities are searching for thousands that may be stranded by flood water. At least 2,400 people have been cut off in Luke Town alone after the Juba River burst its banks, the United Nations has warned. In a similar vein, a 7.1 magnitude earthquake struck Indonesia's Banda Sea on Wednesday. The United States Geological Survey said that with no immediate reports of damage or casualties, no tsunami warning was issued for the quake, initially reported as a magnitude 6.9, which hit at 11:53 a.m. local time, according to the USGS. The tremor was felt moderately in the town of Saulamlaki in the archipelago's Tanimbar Island, according to the Indonesian Meteorological, Climatological and Geophysical Agency. Indonesia experiences frequent earthquakes due to its opposition on the Pacific Ring of Fire, an arc of intensive seismic activity that stretches from Japan through Southeast Asia and across the Pacific Basin. In November 2022, a 5.6 magnitude quake hit the populous West Java province on the country's main island of Java, killing 602 people. Let's now take a look at sports updates with Adeni Ajishafe.
The Board of Paralympic Committee of Nigeria, PCN, has requested for funds from the Minister of Sports Development, Senator John Owaneno, to execute Paris 2024 Paralympic qualifiers for its athletes. President of the body, Sunday Udebode, applauded the minister for his constant backing of the committee, specifically making sure Nigeria took part in the first African Para Games staged in Accra, Ghana in September of 2023. During the Games, Nigeria paraded 4 athletes in wheelchair tennis sports, where they won 2 silver and a bronze medal. The Paris 2024 Paralympic qualifiers began 2 years ago, and the Paralympic Committee of Nigeria, who are in charge of registering and taking care of athletes at the Games, have been working hard to see that Nigerian athletes attend Paris 2024 Paralympic Games. Subsequent to the current rise in ranking of the Yellow Greens, President of Nigerian Cricket Federation, NCF, Uyi Akpata, has said the goal is to be in the continental top 3 by 2026. Yellow Greens of Nigeria moved up 4 places in the latest International Cricket Council T20 rankings from 42nd to 38th in the world, and also became the 7th best team in Africa. The president said, "We are tracking our performances. We just moved a step up from number 8 in Africa to number 7. And I believe that by 2026, we will be able to meet our overall aspiration of being a top 3 in Africa." The advancement in rankings is credited to the success recorded in the just concluded West African Trophy Tour that was held in Lagos. Nigerian cricket team will look to improve their rankings when the ICC T20 World Cup Africa qualifier bid for November 20th to December 1st, 2023 starts in Namibia. And that is it in sports. I am Emmanuel Fashimi.
And that was sports correspondent Emmanuel Fashimi and not Adeni Ajishafe. With that, we wrap up the news hour for tonight. In case you've missed, you can always catch up across all our social media platforms and also on our YouTube live stream. I am Ayuba Ilya. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.
From the Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.